Paying for carrots when you're actually buying a capsicum or peanuts when you're purchasing cashews may seem harmless enough, but as we found out yesterday, it's costing supermarkets, certainly in Australia, tens of millions of dollars. So stealing at self-service counters becoming an increasing problem for our major supermarkets, who originally put the automated tills in to save money. So just how widespread is this problem in New Zealand and how accurately can it be measured? To answer that, we're joined by Gavin White from UMR Research. Good morning, Gavin. Thanks for your time this morning. Are we as bad? I mean, the Aussies here saying it's costing them $140 million or something.
Well, it's hard to see with these numbers getting to $140 million, but it certainly is a potential problem that's out there. We're looking at about 10% of the population admitting to doing that.
So who is this 10%? Are these people who you'd classify as, I don't know, petty criminals, shoplifters?
I would suggest most of them just don't think it's a particularly big deal, because in most cases we're talking about, for example, undercharging yourself for fruit and veggies and things like that. So charging an item that's charging less for an item than you should be paying for it.
I mentioned this idea that people see it as a victimless crime. Is there a certain perception that the supermarkets are these big corporate giants, greedy giants who get plenty of our money?
I think that's absolutely the case, that they would see a big operation that most people would have no idea exactly who owns them. And, yeah, they just sort of see, well, it's a minor thing. If I'm undercharging for myself for tomatoes or something like that, it might be 50 cents. Big corporation, they're making all this money. They're saving in terms of how many, they don't have to hire so many staff. So, yeah, I'm sure they think they're ahead on the deal.
See, it's quite interesting psychology, isn't it? These people probably absolutely law-abiding in other ways, possibly, you know, would never be want to sort of step over the speed limit, or certainly never put a pair of socks in their bag intentionally in another shop. Yet this is shoplifting. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case. I think if you ask people directly, is this morally acceptable? They would say no. But there's sometimes a difference between people, how people act in practice and how they actually are in practice.
Other habits which we've mentioned this morning, which precede the scanning machines, would be having a snack as you're going around the supermarket, or giving the kid a lollipop out of the pick and mix to keep them quiet. I mean, should we really worry about this? Should supermarkets really worry about this?
Well, I think when it actually adds up, it's clearly a big deal for the supermarkets, and of course it does ultimately add to the prices that we pay. If it cuts into their overheads, if it adds to their overheads, well then it cuts into their profit. They put up their prices. So
ideally, if we all stopped it today, prices would go down? I think not. But on a serious note, though,
Probably
Gavin,
not.
do you think this is just going to get worse? I mean, or do you think we're going to see much stricter security measures come in?
Well, what we actually see with these numbers is that the people who are more likely to do it are the ones who use the machines more often. So there's a bit of almost a familiarity breeds contempt thing here. So if anything, it'll get worse in terms of the number of people who've done it. It may not get worse in terms of the amount each person is taking.
And I wonder whether, us talking about this yesterday and this morning has given people the idea to shoot out and do it. Of course, we don't condone it. Gavin White, thank you very much indeed for your assistance this morning. That's Gavin White from UMR Research.